Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true.
Murder suspect among 6 arrested in Manchester. Police are reporting that 6 men, including a murder suspect, were arrested in separate early morning operations in northeast Manchester on Saturday. A police source told reporters that about 3:05 a.m., 5 men were arrested after a roadblock was mounted on the Devon Main Road, where a Toyota Probox motorcar was intercepted. 6 men were aboard the car. 1 eluded the police, but the other 5 were held and found with the housebreaking implements including a crowbar, cash, cigarette, liquor, and parts from poker boxes. Further investigation led the police to an area where 2 poker boxes were recovered, said the source. Police suspect that the men were involved in burglaries targeting bars and homes in Manchester. The men are said to be from Leeds in St. Elizabeth, Georges Valley, Greenville, and Colleyville in Manchester. In a second operation hours later in Shudley, a suspect was arrested in relation to the April 10 murder of Anthony Williams, 51, a farmer and resident of Shudley Housing Scheme. A police report said about 11:30 p.m., Williams was walking home in the scheme when he was pounced on by gunmen who opened fire, hitting him. Gunmen killed patrons at karaoke in Clarendon. Patrons at a karaoke in Denby, Clarendon, had to scamper to cover Friday night after gunmen opened fire at the event. At the end of the shooting, 1 man was shot and killed. The dead man has been identified as 30-year-old Regil Edwards from the community. It was reported that around 11:30 p.m., Edwards and several other patrons were at a karaoke, which was being held on Douglas Drive in Racetrack, Denby. It reported that he was pounced upon by men armed with handguns who opened fire, hitting him several times in the head and upper body, killing him on the spot. The police were called and found Edward lying face down along a dirt road in a pool of blood with multiple gunshot wounds. The scene was processed and 7 9mm spent casing found. The body was taken to the Mapen Hospital, where it was pronounced dead and later transferred to the morgue. No motive has been established for the attack. Man gunned down in Crossroads. A man was shot dead on Retirement Crescent in Crossroads, St. Andrew on Saturday morning, police have confirmed. The man has only been identified as GC from Retirement Crescent, Kingston 5. Information reaching reporters are that the residents heard explosions around 4:55 a.m., stumbled on the body of the now deceased about 5:40 a.m. and called the police. On arrival of the police, the body of GC was seen lying face down with gunshot wounds. He was clad only in a brown plaid underpants. More than 10 spent casings were found at the scene. Mentally challenged man stabbed to death in Portland. A man who is said to be of unsound mind became Portland's 4th murder victim for the year when he was stabbed and killed on Saturday morning along West Street in Port Antonio, Portland. The deceased has been identified as Lee Donald of a Long Bay address in East Portland. Investigators said Donald was stabbed sometime before 6 a.m. on the corridor of a clothing store on West Street. He was found lying on his back with what appeared to be stab wounds. During last month's opening of the male ward at the Portland Infirmary, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Desmond McKenzie highlighted that homelessness is one of the main issues currently being faced in the parish. McKenzie added that the money to build a facility for the homeless is in the budget of the local government ministry, but he is waiting on the mayor of Port Antonio to identify the land on which to build. One of the challenges that Portland faces right now is the question of homeless population. The survey shows us that there is an increase. Quite recently, we have had some tragic incidents in the town of Port Antonio. Mayor, councillors, MP, there is money in the Ministry of Local Government to build a drop-in facility for the homeless population in Portland, but we are waiting on you to identify the land for us to start construction. We have the money in the ministry, he assured. We need to find the location to build the facility to prevent any further abuse on the homeless population in the parish of Portland. This is something that we are very passionate about because in almost all parishes, the government is moving to provide facilities for the homeless population. Portland Mayor, get up, walk, go look the land in Portland that can be used to build a facility for the homeless population, he charged. I want to appeal to the private sector in Portland to come on board as we have an obligation to care for those people and we should leave no stone unturned in providing for these people, McKenzie stated. Construction worker gunned down in St. James. Detectives from the St. James Police Division are probing the circumstances surrounding the shooting death of a construction worker in the parish on Thursday afternoon. The deceased has been identified as Valerie Scott of an Anchovy St. James address. Reports are that about 5:30 p.m., Scott was pounced upon and shot by unknown assailants as he rode his bicycle on the Anchovy Main Road. The police were called to the scene, and upon their arrival, the construction worker was seen lying on the ground, suffering from gunshot wounds. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. No motive has so far been established for the deadly attack. 5 injured in early morning St. James crash. 5 individuals have been taken to hospital following a motor vehicle collision on the Lilliput Main Road in St. James early Saturday morning. According to reports, just before 6 a.m., 2 cars were traveling in opposite directions when they collided. The impact of the collision forced both vehicles off the roadway. One car, a Nissan LaFesta, had 4 occupants while the other, a Toyota Isis, only had the driver. The fire brigade was called in and had to carry out extrication measures on the LaFesta as the passengers were trapped by the wreckage. The passenger, a female, is said to have suffered a number of cuts and broken bones during the ordeal. The other individuals had various injuries as well. Ambulances were used to transfer the injured persons to the hospital. Millions stolen in Old Harbour gas station robbery. 4 men held up an octogenarian and pulled off a multi-million-dollar robbery at a gas station in Gutters in Old Harbour, St. Catherine on Saturday morning. Reports are that about 5:30 a.m., an 80-year-old cleaning lady opened up the office at the Bud's gas station when men forced their way inside the building. They then robbed the establishment at gunpoint and escaped in a waiting motor car. The woman is a cleaner. She was opening up the gas station, and they pounced on her and made off with a large undetermined sum of cash. We are investigating, Christopher Phillips, commanding officer of the St. Catherine South Division, noted. They are unconfirmed rumors that over $24 million was stolen. Taxi group says opposition's recent call for amendment to Cybercrime Act misplaced. The Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services stance has described as misplaced calls by the opposition for legislative amendments to allow for the prosecution of persons who share images or videos of gruesome crash sites on social media. Opposition Member of Parliament Julian Robinson suggests that the Cybercrime Act be amended so that the provision which covers the sharing of intimate images without consent can be expanded. However, TOT's President Hector Newman said the country's lawmakers should focus instead of creating legislation aimed at reducing road crashes and fatalities. Mr. Newman acknowledged that the sharing of graphic images and videos can have negative impacts on the relatives of the persons involved. He, however, noted that criminalizing persons for sharing images and videos will not solve the large problem of reckless driving behavior and poor road conditions.
It is the strong view of my organization that lawmakers and others have the priorities wrong in terms of fatal crashes, road accidents. I think more time and energy and resources need to be placed on prevention. I think government is lacking in terms of prevention. And I believe that the time has come for us to be more graphic on our education process of dealing with road safety awareness. I think lawmakers are wasting time looking at the criminalization of persons who take pictures. Yes, one understands the pain and suffering of the family of the deceased or those who are badly injured. But that's not where our priority should be placed. Our road conditions in many of the areas in Jamaica need to be addressed. 119 deaths since the start of the year. What is the cause? Look what is causing government right now to maintain persons in health care. I think we need to place more emphasis on prevention, education, more than now talking about criminalizing people who take a picture. So what will you do with those in the media? Would you criminalize them also for taking pictures? You know, we need to come to our senses as a country and as lawmakers. There are so many things to be done. Address the problem first, then you move to that. That should be the last staple on the table. But there are more important things to do. We cannot continue to have a bloody streets like that. And maybe some of us need to see the blood on the streets to understand that we have to stop operating as road hogs and move to become road angels.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification